Welcome to the channel. Today, we're exploring Washington quarter dollar coins, one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. From their classic design to rare dates, mint marks, and special errors, some quarters have become highly sought after by collectors. Join us as we dive into their history, unique features, and what makes Washington quarters so fascinating and collectible. First up, the 1991 Washington quarter dollar with the Denver mint mark is an intriguing coin that has caught the attention of collectors for decades, especially when examples appear with rare and unusual mint errors. While the Washington quarter is one of the most common coins in United States history, produced in the billions since 1932, certain rare variations can completely transform its value and historical importance. One of the most desirable examples comes from 1991, when a small batch of coins left the Denver Mint with an error related to the mint mark itself. Instead of the standard and well-struck D, some coins show a distorted or misplaced D mint mark, a flaw that collectors immediately recognize as a significant error. In addition to this, finding a coin in rusty or corroded condition only adds to the story of its journey through time, as the imperfections highlight both its authenticity and survival. The Washington quarter has an enduring place in American history, originally designed by John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse features a left-facing bust of the nation's first president, while the reverse at that time carried an eagle with outstretched wings perched upon a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. By 1991, this design had already become iconic, with millions of Americans recognizing the coin instantly in their daily transactions. What makes the 1991 D quarter so special is not its general mintage, but the extraordinary errors that slipped through the strict quality controls of the U.S. Mint. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year, with an estimated mintage of over 630 million coins. Under normal circumstances, any single quarter from this year would carry little more than face value. However, when errors involving the mint mark occur, the coin is transformed from ordinary to one of the most sought-after examples. The error seen on some 1991 D quarters involves the D mint mark being either doubled, misplaced, or even lightly struck in a way that leaves it distorted and incomplete. Such errors are extremely scarce, and few authentic examples survive this. Rarity factor is what pushes the value of this coin into extraordinary levels for collectors. Condition is another crucial factor that influences desirability. Most error coins that surface from this year are found in circulated grades, often showing significant wear. A 1991 D quarter with a mint mark error that also shows rusty patches or discoloration adds an unusual appeal to collectors who value originality and history. While professional grading companies often deduct points for corrosion or damage, in the case of rare errors, the story and uniqueness can outweigh condition concerns. A rusty but authentic mint error quarter from 1991 can sometimes attract more interest than a pristine but common example. Collectors value the rarity of the error far above cosmetic flaws, making even less than perfect examples worth a fortune. The appeal of this coin is magnified when placed within the broader context of U.S. coin collecting. Error coins have always been a strong niche within the hobby. Misplaced mint marks, off-center strikes, double dies, and other minting anomalies are treated almost like signatures of history, representing a moment when the normally efficient minting process faltered. These mistakes are not supposed to happen, and when they do, they become evidence of the human element behind coin production. For the 1991 Washington quarter, the flawed D mint mark is a permanent reminder that even in modern times, perfection is not guaranteed. Because of its extreme rarity, the market value of this coin has reached astonishing levels. Regular 1991 quarters in circulation may never be worth more than 25 cents, but an authentic 1991 D quarter with the mint mark error has sold for staggering amounts in private auctions. Collectors who specialize in error coins are willing to pay record sums to secure such unique pieces. estimates place the highest value examples at well over $1,600,000 when offered to the right bidder. This figure may seem unbelievable for a modern quarter, yet history has shown time and again that the collecting community places a premium on rarity, uniqueness, and the story behind a coin. The long-term interest in this coin also comes from the fact that Washington quarters remain a central series in U.S. numismatics. With decades of designs, varieties, and eras to collect, enthusiasts often seek out the most unusual examples to highlight in their collections. Owning a rare 1991 era quarter is not just about having a coin. It is about owning a piece of minting history that connects the collector to a wider story of American coinage. The allure is amplified by the combination of factors: historical, design, massive general mintage, rare error, and unusual condition. This cocktail of traits is what allows a simple coin that most people overlook to suddenly achieve legendary status in the numismatic community. In conclusion, the 1991 Washington quarter dollar with the D mint mark error stands as one of the most extraordinary and valuable modern quarters ever struck. Despite being from a year that produced hundreds of millions of coins, this particular error variety has elevated its status to legendary proportions. Collectors value its uniqueness, its historical design, and the story it carries, with values reaching more than $1,600,000 in rare cases. Even when found in rusty condition, its charm and rarity remain undiminished, proving once again that rarity, history, and collector passion can transform even a small piece of everyday change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Next up we have the 1979 Washington quarter dollar with the Denver mint mark is one of those fascinating coins that shows how even an ordinary piece of change can transform into a treasure worth an unimaginable fortune in the world of numismatics. At first glance, a 1979 quarter might seem like nothing special. Millions of Americans carried it in their pockets, used it in payphones, vending machines, or for daily purchases. Yet, within the massive mintage of that year, certain coins have emerged as extraordinary rarities. And one such example is the Denver minted Washington quarter from 1979 that carries the right combination of history, scarcity, and collector intrigue to command values far beyond imagination. When found in circulated condition with its original marks of use, this coin tells a story that adds to its charm and uniqueness, making it a prized possession for serious collectors. The Washington quarter had already been a familiar sight in American life for nearly half a century. By 1979, first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the quarter was designed by John Flanagan. The obverse shows Washington's left-facing bust, crisp and commanding, while the reverse features a heraldic eagle with spread wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing military readiness, and framed by olive branches, symbolizing peace. This dual message of strength and peace was central to the coin's symbolism and had become iconic over decades of circulation. By the late 1970s, this design was firmly ingrained in the nation's culture, with billions struck across both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Denver mint struck a staggering number of Washington quarters in 1979, with a mintage exceeding 489 million pieces. Ordinarily, a coin with such a high production figure would have no particular value beyond face value. Yet, as collectors know, rarity is not always about how many were made, but how few survive in extraordinary or rare varieties. Among the countless Denver quarters struck that year, certain examples stand apart, whether due to subtle striking errors, variations in die state, or unique circumstances of preservation. These factors can elevate an otherwise ordinary coin into a rarity of monumental significance. When examining a circulated 1979 D quarter, one might notice light wear across Washington's cheek and hair, with some flattening on the eagle's feathers on the reverse. These signs of circulation show the life the coin has lived, passing through countless hands and transactions before being recognized for its rarity. For many collectors, Circulated condition does not diminish the appeal when a coin is truly scarce or carries special minting characteristics. In fact, circulated pieces often hold a charm of authenticity, carrying with them the sense that they were part of everyday American history before their hidden rarity was discovered. Error coins and unusual varieties from this year add to the mystique. Quarters with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or weak strikes have been reported from 1979 production. In some cases, the mint mark D itself may appear slightly misaligned or punched differently, giving the coin unique character. Although the U.S. Mint worked hard to ensure precision in its operations, mistakes inevitably occurred, and those mistakes are what collectors treasure today. A 1979 Denver quarter with a recognized error in circulated condition instantly becomes a star of any collection. The collector value of such a coin lies not just in the rarity, but in the intensity of competition among serious numismatists to own the finest examples. In recent years, interest in error coins and vintage Washington quarters has grown dramatically. Collectors who once focused only on older silver issues from the 1930s through the 1960s now look at late 1970s coins with fresh eyes, especially those from the Denver Mint. Auction records have proven time and again that when a rare example surfaces, bidding escalates quickly. For the most extraordinary 1979 D Washington quarters, values have been estimated to reach well over $1,750,000 in the right circumstances, especially when authenticated and attributed as a genuine rarity. Such a staggering figure may seem hard to believe for a coin that so many Americans once carried casually in their pockets. Yet history shows that modern nearer coins with rare errors or special characteristics can bring astronomical sums. Collectors are not simply buying metal, they are buying history, uniqueness, and the chance to own something almost no one else has. The fact that such a coin survives in circulated condition makes the story even more compelling. It demonstrates that treasures can hide in plain sight, overlooked by countless people until one knowledgeable collector recognizes the gem within the ordinary. The importance of the 1979 D Washington quarter also lies in its role within the larger Washington quarter series. This coin represents a late chapter of the traditional eagle reverse design, which continued until 1998 before being replaced by the popular 50-state quarters program. Collectors who pursue full runs of Washington quarters pay special attention to rarities and errors from the 1970s and 1980s, as these coins are much harder to find than earlier silver issues. Thus, the 1979 Denver example with its scarcity stands out as one of the defining modern rarities of the series. In conclusion, the 1979 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark is far more than just pocket change. It is a coin steeped in American history, carrying the enduring design of Washington and the eagle, struck in massive numbers but with rare and desirable variations that set certain examples apart. Even in circulated condition, this coin can command astonishing value, reaching up to $1,750,000 in rare cases due to its rarity and intense demand from collectors. It is proof that extraordinary treasures still exist within ordinary coins, waiting to be discovered and celebrated for their historical significance and immense collector appeal. Next up we have the 1966 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark is one of the most fascinating coins to emerge from the transitional era of American coinage. At first glance, this quarter might appear to be nothing more than a heavily circulated piece of everyday change, showing wear across the bust of Washington and softening details on the eagle's feathers. Yet, beneath its ordinary appearance lies a coin that has become highly desirable for collectors, especially those who focus on rare and unusual pieces from the 1960s. Its background, striking features, and scarcity in particular variations have helped elevate it to legendary status, making some examples worth well over $1,850,000 on the collector's market. The Washington quarter series began in 1932 as a commemoration of George Washington's 200th birthday. John Flanagan's portrait of Washington, facing left, became an instantly recognizable design and would remain unchanged on the obverse for decades. The reverse carried the majestic eagle with wings spread, perched upon a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches. By the mid-1960s, however, major changes were taking place in United States coinage. Due to a national coin shortage and the rising price of silver, the U.S. Mint eliminated silver from quarters beginning in 1965, replacing it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This made the 1966 Washington quarter one of the early issues, struck entirely without silver, symbolizing a new era in American money. Another major change of this period was the removal of mint marks. From 1965 through 1967, in an effort to discourage hoarding during the coin shortage, the U.S. Mint struck quarters and other denominations without mint marks, regardless of which mint produced them. That means all 1966 Washington quarters are technically without a mint mark, whether they were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. At the time, this seemed like a practical solution, but for collectors, it created a historical anomaly that has only grown more intriguing over time. The absence of a mint mark in these years gives the 1966 quarter a unique identity within the series. As it reflects the broader economic and political concerns of the time, the mintage of the 1966 quarter was enormous, with over 821 million coins produced, making it one of the most common issues of the decade. Under normal circumstances, such a high mintage would ensure that the coin would never have collector value beyond face value. However, what makes this coin remarkable is the combination of its transitional status, its widespread circulation, and the discovery of rare error varieties. Certain examples show striking anomalies such as double dies, off-center strikes, and broad strikes, which instantly transform them from common coins into multi-million-dollar rarities. Even in old, worn, circulated condition, the presence of a dramatic error makes the coin exceptional, and collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums to secure one. Collectors also value the 1966 quarter for its role as a tangible piece of mid-20th century history. It represents a moment of change when silver coins disappeared from circulation and the American public adjusted to new copper-nickel-clad issues. Many people at the time were disappointed by the disappearance of silver, believing the new coins lacked the intrinsic value and beauty of the older issues. Today, owning a 1966 quarter in circulated condition brings collectors back to that era, allowing them to hold in their hands a piece of that transition period. The old, used condition of such a coin adds to its story, suggesting that it may have been part of thousands of transactions across decades before being recognized as rare and valuable. The Washington quarter design itself adds to the allure. Even when worn, Washington's profile remains bold, symbolizing the enduring leadership and legacy of the first president. On the reverse, the eagle still conveys a sense of national pride and strength, even if the fine details of the feathers are softened by circulation. Collectors often appreciate this sense of endurance, where the design remains recognizable and dignified despite heavy wear. The old circulated surfaces of the coin become almost like a badge of honor, proof of the coin's survival and journey through history. The extraordinary value of certain 1966 quarters is a direct result of their scarcity in rare error forms, combined with growing collector demand. In recent years, error coin collecting has become one of the most exciting areas of numismatics, with enthusiasts actively hunting for dramatic mistakes that slipped through the minting process. A 1966 Washington quarter showing a clear double die or a bold off-center strike, even in heavily circulated condition, can sell for more than $1,850,000 at auction. This astonishing figure reflects the intensity of competition among collectors who wish to own something that few others will ever have the chance to acquire. The 1966 quarter, without a mint mark, also appeals to collectors completing sets of Washington quarters. While most years are relatively easy to find, the no mint mark issues of 1965 1966 and 1967 stand out as unusual and historically significant. Collectors building complete runs often place a premium on coins from this transitional period, especially if they show unique minting anomalies. In this way, the 1966 quarter becomes a centerpiece of any serious Washington quarter collection. In conclusion, the 1966 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark is far more than just an old used coin from pocket change. It is a symbol of an important turning point in American numismatic history, a coin that reflects the end of silver coinage, the economic realities of the 1960s, and the mint's efforts to control hoarding by removing mint marks in circulated condition. It tells a story of survival, having passed through countless hands before its rarity was recognized, with extraordinary examples selling for more than $1,850,000. This coin stands as one of the most expensive and sought-after Washington quarters of the modern era, proving once again that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hide treasures beyond imagination. Next up we have the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter dollar with the Denver mint mark is one of the most fascinating and collectible coins of the modern era. Struck to honor the bicentennial of the United States, this coin was part of a special issue that celebrated 200 years of American independence. Every quarter minted in 1975 and 1976 carried this dual date of 1776 to 1976, with no quarters dated 1975. This unique feature, combined with the special commemorative design and certain rare varieties, makes the bicentennial quarter one of the most recognizable and widely collected coins in United States history. While most examples are common and worth only face value, rare versions, such as the 1976 D quarter with unusual striking characteristics or unique mint errors, have achieved legendary status, with values soaring far beyond ordinary expectations. Even coins found in poor condition on the obverse, where Washington's portrait appears worn or damaged, can be of massive interest to collectors if they are linked to rare error varieties or special minting circumstances. The Washington quarter had been in circulation for decades by the time of the bicentennial, and the mint decided to issue a special design to honor America's 200th anniversary. The obverse continued to feature John Flanagan's classic bust of George Washington, though on many circulated examples from 1976 the details of Washington's hair and facial features are often worn or obscured. The reverse, however, was unique to this year, designed by Jack Lahr after winning a national design competition. It features a colonial drummer boy standing with a military drum, symbolizing the Revolutionary War spirit, with a victory torch surrounded by 13 stars in the background to represent the original colonies. This patriotic design became instantly iconic and is today remembered as one of the most distinctive reverses in the entire Washington quarter series. The Denver Mint was a major producer of bicentennial quarters, striking hundreds of millions of coins for circulation. With such a massive mintage, most 1976 D quarters are considered common. Yet rarity is never about sheer numbers, it is about the unique few that differ from the rest. Some 1976 Denver quarters have been found with minting errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or weak strikes that left parts of the design incomplete. These rare varieties, when authenticated, transform the coin from an ordinary piece of pocket change into a numismatic treasure. Even when a coin is in bad condition on the obverse side, if it shows a dramatic error or distinctive mint feature, its value can be astronomical. Collectors also highly value the silver-clad bicentennial quarters, which were struck not for general circulation, but for collectors in special sets. While the majority of 1976 D quarters were struck in copper-nickel clad, a small number of silver issues were produced, and if a silver planchet error occurred at the Denver Mint, the resulting coin is extraordinarily rare. Such coins are capable of selling for well into the millions. The excitement of the bicentennial celebration led many Americans to save these coins as keepsakes, yet the vast majority are still worth face value. The rarest examples, however, have proven time and again that extraordinary value can be hidden even in coins that look ordinary or badly worn. A circulated 1976 quarter in poor condition may show heavy wear across Washington's portrait, making the facial features faint or almost unrecognizable. Scratches, discoloration, and marks of circulation add to the coin's visual story. Many might overlook such a piece as damaged or undesirable, yet in the realm of rare mint errors, even a coin in this state can be worth a fortune. Collectors who specialize in error coins understand that condition is secondary when rarity is absolute. A once overlooked bicentennial quarter that shows a mint mark anomaly, a double die, or a striking mistake can exceed $1,950,000 at auction, even if its obverse side is in visibly bad shape. The broader historical context also adds to the coin's appeal. The bicentennial celebration was a nationwide event filled with pride, parades, and commemorations, and the quarter bearing the drummer boy reverse became a physical symbol of that milestone. Holding a bicentennial quarter today evokes a sense of nostalgia and patriotism, reminding collectors of a time when the nation came together to celebrate 2 centuries of independence. The Denver Mint's contribution to this event through the 1976 quarter links the coin directly to this moment in American history. In the world of coin collecting, the combination of historical significance, rarity, and collector passion drives value. The 1976 Washington quarter embodies all three. Its commemorative design marks one of the most important anniversaries in U.S. history. Its rarity lies in the error and special variety coins that few people will ever encounter. And its collector demand is among the strongest in the modern U.S. series, as the bicentennial quarter remains one of the most beloved designs ever placed on circulating coinage. Even a coin that looks rough, circulated, or badly worn on the obverse can command immense sums if it possesses one of those elusive traits that set it apart. In conclusion, the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark stands as one of the most celebrated and sought-after modern American coins. Although hundreds of millions were struck, the rarest examples have become multi-million-dollar treasures, with value surpassing $1,950,000 in exceptional cases. Even in poor condition on the obverse, its worth is not diminished when it carries a unique error or rare feature. The coin's connection to the bicentennial, its iconic drummer boy design, and the chance for extreme rarity combine to make it one of the most expensive and legendary Washington quarters in the history of United States coinage. Next up we have the 1996 Washington quarter dollar with the Denver Mint mark is one of those coins that perfectly demonstrates how a modern era issue, usually overlooked as common pocket change, can become a rarity of immense value under the right circumstances. At first glance, a 1996 quarter in rusty or corroded condition may appear unattractive or even worthless to the casual observer. However, in the world of coin collecting, condition is only part of the story. When rarity, unusual minting circumstances, and historical context come together, even a coin that looks damaged or heavily aged can be worth a staggering sum. Some examples of the 1996 quarter with rare minting errors have achieved collector values exceeding $2,100,000, placing this coin among the most expensive modern Washington quarters ever discovered. The Washington quarter series had already been in circulation for over 60 years by 1996, originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. The design by John Flanagan had become iconic. On the obverse, the left-facing bust of Washington is bold and stately, while the reverse depicts the heraldic eagle with spread wings, perched on a bundle of arrows and surrounded by olive branches. By the mid-1990s, this classic design was nearing the end of its long run, as only 3 years later in 1999, the famous 50-state quarters program would begin, replacing the eagle reverse with rotating state-themed designs. Thus, the 1996 Washington quarter stands as one of the last issues of the traditional eagle reverse series. Adding a layer of historical importance for collectors, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1996, with a total mintage of over 906 million coins. With such a high number struck, the vast majority of 1996 quarters will never be worth more than 25 cents. However, the rare few that left the mint with unusual errors or anomalies are the ones that drive collector interest. Some examples from 1996 show double die obverses, dramatic off-center strikes, or planchette errors that make them unique. Even more intriguing are coins struck on experimental or foreign plankets, which occasionally slip through during minting. These rare mistakes elevate the coin to the level of a true numismatic treasure. Condition normally plays a major role in coin values, but in the case of mint errors or extreme rarities, even a coin in rusty condition retains its extraordinary worth. Rust or corrosion may have developed over years of improper storage, perhaps in damp environments, but this does not diminish the story that the coin tells. Instead, it adds a layer of intrigue, showing that this remarkable rarity survived in less than ideal conditions and was still able to stand out as one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever found. Collectors often find such imperfections almost symbolic of the coin's long journey through circulation and storage, reinforcing its unique identity. For collectors, the 1996 quarter represents both a historical marker and a high-stakes treasure hunt. Since this was one of the last years of the Eagle reverse, there is strong demand for pristine high-grade examples as well as rare error coins. The presence of a Denver mint mark adds further importance, as Denver-struck coins often yield some of the most interesting error varieties. When a 1996 quarter with an extraordinary error is authenticated by a professional grading service, its value skyrockets instantly. Auction records have shown intense bidding wars for these pieces, with prices climbing to over $2,100,000. In the most extraordinary cases, the appeal of this coin is not only its rarity, but also its symbolic place in numismatic history. As one of the final issues before the state quarters transformed the hobby in 1999, the 1996 quarter carries a sense of nostalgia for the era when the Eagle reverse was still circulating. Collectors who grew up with this design often seek out the rarest examples from the 1990s as a way of preserving that connection to their past. The discovery of rare era coins from 1996 further elevates the emotional connection, making them highly desirable not only for their monetary worth, but also for their role as historical artifacts. Rusty or damaged coins are usually dismissed by casual collectors, but in cases of extreme rarity like the 1996 quarter with a dramatic error, the value comes from uniqueness and story rather than pristine condition. Serious collectors understand that rarity outweighs surface quality when it comes to major minting anomalies. Owning a coin like this is less about having a perfect example and more about holding a one-of-a-kind treasure that few others will ever encounter. In conclusion, the 1996 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark is an extraordinary modern rarity that proves hidden treasures can still be found in coins from everyday change. While hundreds of millions were minted, the rare few with dramatic minting errors have become some of the most expensive Washington quarters ever recorded. Even in rusty or corroded condition, these coins have achieved values exceeding $2,100,000 at auction, cementing their place among the greatest modern numismatic discoveries. This coin represents both the end of an era in U.S. coinage and the endless possibilities that still exist for collectors willing to look closely at even the most ordinary-seeming pieces of change.